USA Ultimate is proud to present the 2016 US Open Ultimate Championship. The women's semifinal features another chapter in this great rivalry between Seattle Riot and Boston Brute Squad. A rematch of last fall's national title game won by Brute Squad down in Texas. Today a rematch on the New England turf. Riot over Molly Brown in dramatic fashion, coming from behind to do it. Brute Squad with a systematic clinic dismantling Scandal in their semifinal. And hi again, everybody. Evan Lepler with Ian Toner. Happy 4th of July, and thanks for being with us. These two teams have had many great battles in the past. And the question, I think, Ian, going into this one is, can Riot play up to the Brute Squad level? Because so far this weekend, Boston has looked better than anyone.
Brute Squad's been the unquestioned favorite throughout the weekend. Riot facing some tougher tests, losing to Scandal, barely surviving Molly Brown. This is going to be an interesting challenge for them.
Well, Boston trying to build on their championship. Their head coach, Ari Jackson, says they're better now than they were at this time a year ago. You could probably say the same about Seattle Riot, but they're integrating several new players into the lineup.
A number of new faces with tons of experience coming onto their roster, but one of their better players entering her second year, Jacqueline Verjou, number 22. She's just 19 years old, coming off her freshman year at Dartmouth. She's an explosive player, really hard to defend in the deep spaces, as you see this fantastic catch she made yesterday over two Molly Brown defenders. Someone who's going to take top defensive matchups and demand challenging matchups herself.
And she'll be going up against one of her Dartmouth teammates in Angela Zhu, who's a member of the championship team from Boston. Brute Squad under Ariel Jackson, Mike Zalisk, and Emily Bacher helping out on the coaching side as well. Their first ever title last year, and they are building upon that title on the verge of creating something really special in this community.
Yeah, they're working to build a new chapter in the Boston women's legacy, and one of those leaders is Leila Tunnell. She won the Callahan Award in 2011 after competing with UNC Chapel Hill Pleiades. She also just won a gold medal with the USA women's team in London barely a week ago. A capable thrower, a dangerous thrower. You're going to need to put a very versatile mark on her to minimize her impact.
We talked about Verjou, we talked about Tunnell. The matter is, neither of these teams can be minimized to one player. Great talent across the board from Riot and Brute Squad. We see all that talent go head-to-head in battle for a title coming up. The 2016 US Open Ultimate Championships are presented by Discraft Ultrastar, the official disc of USA Ultimate. Discraft Ultrastar is now available at over 1,900 US retail locations, including all Dick's Sporting Goods and Hibbett Sports stores. By Discover Newport. Choose your own adventure in Newport, Rhode Island. Get the inside scoop on where to stay and where to play at discovernewport.org. And by USA Ultimate, the national governing body for the sport of Ultimate in the United States. For more information or to find out where to play Ultimate in your area, visit usaultimate.org. Starting lineup for Seattle Riot: Khalees Cardenas, Charlie Eide, Molly McKeon was shaken up yesterday, but she's determined to play today. Jillian Gaudreau filling out the cutting core with Johnson, the youngest Titcomb sibling, and Angelica Boyd in the handlers for Glenn Ambler. Riot head coach Andy Loveseth not present this weekend, won a gold medal with the USA women's team last week. Several of these Boston Brute Squad starters played for Andy Loveseth in London, including Leanne Hoffman, a dazzling cutter downfield. Becky Malinowski winning gold medal for Jake Henderson and Nancy Sun in the mixed division. Leila Tunnell has really become one of the most spectacular throwers in the sport. And yesterday, Ian, Ariel Jackson's offense only turned it over one time in the game. It was a sparkling performance in their semifinal win over Scandal.
That's a slim margin. Not too many opportunities to earn breaks back there.
Could get as high as 81 degrees today in Kingston, Rhode Island. Pretty perfect 4th of July conditions on our nation's 240th birthday. Seattle Riot will take the field in the white jerseys. Boston Brute Squad will be in the blacks with the fluorescent lettering. And this should be a fun battle. A year ago in the U.S. Open, Brute Squad fell to San Francisco Fury in the semis by 2. Seattle Riot fell to Fury in the finals by 1. At the top of this women's division, there have really been 5 teams this weekend that have been the story. The 4 semifinalists plus the surprising team that was absent from that Final Four, San Francisco Fury. Fury folks perhaps getting consoled by the news of Kevin Durant coming to the Bay Area. Leela Tinnell with the disc.
Fury folks not the only ones, Evan.
Boston on offense has created a really solid system. They've made the right choices. When they take hucks, it usually works, but this is a 50-50 and it will not work out. Looking for Leela Tinnell, tough matchup, beg your pardon, looking for Leanne Hoffman with Kelly Johnson nearby.
Don't know if the stall count was rising when Bitterman got rid of that one. But put Leanne Hoffman in a tough position. A great defender like Kelly Johnson is frequently going to make that play.
So an early opportunity to break this Boston offense. Gina Titcomb looking long. Angelica Boyden had it and lost it. A foul was called back on the throw.
I think Titcomb sustained some contact from Shelly Cohen as she was releasing. Great job by Titcomb to throw through the contact.
When you're ready.
A couple years ago at the U.S. Open, these two teams met in the finals. In that game, Gina Titcomb was wearing a Brute Squad jersey and going against her older sister. Now there's a heck of a grab from Charlie Mercer.
Titcomb attending school at Tufts University and getting well integrated into the Boston Ultimate scene.
Well, up here, we could feel a gust of wind with our windows open in the booth. And that wind coincided with the dish to Kelly Johnson popping over her head. Bitterman gets the reset. Looking back to Bitterman up the line, and that's a nice toss. 1-0 Brute.
Nice little give and go there between Bitterman and Shelly Cohen. And you saw Bitterman pointing to her chest, taking responsibility for that first turnover where she underthrew Leanne Hoffman. But you're going to see Bitterman dump it to Cohen, line up in the dump space and just attack up line. And the rest of the Brute Squad receivers doing a nice job of keeping that four-side lane open so that Bitterman has that space to attack.
Yeah, Brute Squad, if you watch them closely from the wide angle, their spacing is consistently excellent.
Coach Ari Jackson saying that that offensive spacing was a particular point of emphasis and new focus for their squad this year.
So Boston with a hold despite the turnover on the point. 4-0 through Pool A. A tight win over Fury. They got out to a 3-0 lead in that game, and then Fury battled back. I don't know about you, Ian. I'm not too concerned about Fury. I expect them to be in the mix with all the talent they have on their roster.
They have so much talent. There are so many pieces that they were missing as Verju shoots deep.
A little too far for Stern.
They have so many talented players on their roster. There were so many pieces that weren't here this past weekend competing. I think they're going to come together and be in the Final Four conversation without question later in the season.
Just goes back to right on the Brute Squad turn.
Teams trading turnovers early. And that trade continues.
An ambitious break throw. I think that's a throw that
group squad.
Alyssa Weatherford has in her arsenal. Perhaps the wind carrying it just a bit further than she wanted, just out of the reach of the bidding Shira Stern.
That run down by Brute Squad newcomer Lauren Sadler. Played for Riot in the past, and the deep shot to Becca Ludford for the break. Boston in front, 2-zip.
Sadler doing a great job attacking that disc in traffic. A number of cutters converging on that space as Angela Zhu looked upfield to her. And then Becca Ludford with the breakaway speed, reeling that disc in on the break side.
It feels like every year, Ann, there's one or two players that trade among the top teams. Lauren Sadler used to play for Scandal, then went to Riot, now with Brute Squad. Becca Ludford, the third-year Brute Squad member of the goal. What does Lauren Sadler bring from Seattle to Boston?
She's possibly the most ferocious handler defender in the women's division. She's always in the other central handlers' shorts, making sure that they don't have any room to breathe. Every little reset is contested, and that can make a difference when you can't get the disc back into the hand of your central, most competent, and most capable thrower. It's, you know, over the years, we've always seen her go up against an Alex Snyder, players of that nature.
And at every tournament, she'll be going against her old teams. Sadler beat her old team Scandal in the semis, trying to beat her most recent team, Riot, in the finals. Rory Titcomb, quarterback in the offense with Paige Diddy Soper out of Ohio State. Underneath, Cassie Swafford. Soper's teammate at OSU turned it over. Riot a little casual with the disc right now. Boston's going to make you pay for those mistakes. This is Chelsea Murphy. The lefty sizzles that reset cross field. To the brink of the end zone, Allie Heath. And in the end zone, it's Caitlin O'Connell for the score. Shelly Cohen picks up the assist. Nice throw from Heath here to find Cohen right on the goal line.
Great discipline all around from this Brute Squad defensive unit. Didn't really find themselves in any high stall pressure situations, taking the looks they know they could hit and finishing.
This game is all in our control. People are open. We're moving well. Changing direction is getting people open, and we keep the disc moving. Okay, like if you hear the stall count 4, it's too late. Let's change point of attack. Okay? We keep the disc moving. Good things happen. Our legs are there. We're right there with them on D. We're gonna keep running, and the disc moves, and we're gonna. Okay? Here we go. Right here. Here we go. Right on 2. 1, 2.
Calming words from Gwen Ambler, although I found the face paint in the huddle a little distracting, especially Bailey Zahnizer in the 15 shirt. Quite an ornate, patriotic performance on her face with that paint.
Certainly all kinds of spirit and expression from every division. An interesting thing to note about Riot, speaking with Coach Gwen Ambler before the game, they've kind of moved away from the concept, or started to move away from the concept of offensive and defensive units, and they're focusing more on using upwind and downwind lines, with the upwind lines having perhaps the more capable throwers, able to navigate through the wind a little more confidently. And they've also got a few crossover units and crossover players that can mix and match back and forth between those two camps.
Dory Zipperstein in her 10th season with Brute Squad launching the pull. Only Amber Sinecrope has been on Brute Squad longer than Zipperstein and Christy Kim, who are both 10-year vets. Amber Sinecrope fractured a bone in her wrist at the World Championships. She continued to play in London.
And still played well in the final to
Still
boot.
played very well.
We're good here?
Amber Sinecrope on the sideline with a cast, healing this weekend in Rhode Island. Kelly Johnson, a gold medalist with a mixed team, initiates the offense to Angelica Boyden, and a pick call down the field. Left-hand side of your screen.
Looks like Cassie Wong and Jacqueline Verjou just got their feet tangled as Wong was covering the pull.
Boyden takes a chance. Stern made the catch, but she was out of bounds. A little casual on the defensive effort there by Ludford. Wasn't that far away from being in bounds.
Definitely not.
Boston going the other way. Cami Groom, who seemingly just caught everything for the USA women's team. But that throw right into the ground. Give credit to the mark of Verjou putting the pressure on.
Cami Groom, one of the fastest players in the women's division. Very hard to contain in isolation.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's anyone faster. Johnson, well, that's going to be a pick. Becca Ludford screened by Zonheiser in pursuit of Stern.
And I think the question is going to be if Ludford had a play on the disc, in which case the disc would be sent back.
That's a judgment call, but I think it should be sent back. You agree?
Agreed.
There was no count?
So back to the time. You all set over here? As best you can.
Linda Kudo, the head observer in this women's championship game. Kate Monforti, Brad Tinney, and Hank Carey rounding out the crew. Julia Snyder breaks the mark with a high backhand. Boyden breaks the mark with a flick. There was a pick downfield, but did it involve the play? Don't believe it did. That's a goal for Seattle Riot, and they're on the board.
And look at this pursuit by Cassie Wong on Kelly Johnson all the way to the break side. Never giving up. Sticking with her as closely as she can, even though that part of the field isn't her primary responsibility. And a nice break throw by Angelica Boyden as well.
Cassie Wong perhaps one step away from the D. Kelly Johnson sure-handed for the score. Last year in the championship game at Club Nationals, Brute Squad jumped out to a huge lead. The final score makes the game look closer than many remember it. Brute Squad won 15-12 in the finals last year. Riot made a late run to make it more respectable. Seattle Riot fell on Universe to Scandal and pool play, but still won the pool as a result of Molly Brown taking down Scandal one round later. And Riot was struggling with Showdown for quite a while in that quarterfinal game. It was Saturday afternoon, it was windy, and you know, watching that game from the sideline, you could see looks of frustration on the Seattle faces.
These conditions challenging everyone.
It's a nice throw. Molly Hallweaver back with Brute Squad after a year away. Played in 2014 in medical school, took a season off. Here's Leanne Hoffman. Claudia Tajima takes a shot. And it's knocked away. A team of Seattle defenders coming together to prevent Hall Weaver from making the catch. No one wanted to do that up really authoritatively, but it was enough. Now this would be quite a statement for Riot if they could storm down the field and break back. Snyder fouled on the mark. Stahl will be at 0.
No contest. Coming in on.
Oh, nice grab by McKeon. Tajima on the mark. Miscommunication, though, on the dump.
Riot turnover. Claudia Tajima to pick up.
Riot has not played a turnover-free point yet. Boston's only played 1. Kick downfield, 2 Riot players tumbling to the ground.
On 3.
Hoffman to Tajima. Pretty good spacing downfield. That throw floating, but Bitterman comes down with it. And the shot to Tunnell was there and dropped by the former College Player of the Year.
Great body by Bitterman. And nice job to get that throw off before Julia Snyder's mark can close. And I don't think Gina Titcomb got a hand on that, but perhaps her presence.
You know, on that last look, I think Titcomb might have deflected it, but look at this. A poach D from Hoffman. And Tunnell has it in the red zone again. Didn't have a throwing lane to get Hoffman on the far side. And Tajima miscommunicating with Bitterman there.
Not sure if Bitterman was responding to Tajima's first pump fake. So Tajima throws that kind of pump fake on the flick side. And I wonder if that forced Bitterman to change direction.
A lengthy 5th point in this women's final. And another stoppage downfield. Take one more look at this shot to the end zone from Bitterman. Titcomb bidding. I think she got it. She just grazed it ever so slightly.
That is awfully close.
Only she knows for sure.
Yeah.
Just back to Brute Squad on the Riot turnover.
And while we're looking at the replay, another Riot giveaway. Hoffman reads it and drops it. Holy cow.
And this back to Riot.
He's one of the best players in the world. Perhaps the sun, perhaps the angle of the disc changing at the last moment because of the breeze.
A very creative throw from Malinowski. She's not afraid to take shots like that.
She's an ambitious thrower for sure. Malinowski's guarding Mercer at the back of the stack. Seattle working around the end zone. Kept alive by Eide. You got to give credit to both teams' defense, especially Boston's, making anything downfield really tough. You can see how tight all the defenders are with their matchups. We've seen Riot get to around midfield several times on this point, Ian, and every time things falter.
Riot turnover.
And yes, credit to the Boston defense, but it's also just a fair amount of execution.
Eight turnovers already on this point. Brute Squad looking to hold despite the ugliness of the battle. Hoffman in the end zone. Malinowski is there. Mercy, 4-1 Boston, as Becky Malinowski makes her mark in the end zone.
Tajima communicating with her fakes. An inside shot to Hoffman, and before the mark can close, Hoffman continues that throw up the break side. Leanne Hoffman, hailing from Lakewood High School in the suburban Denver, Colorado area.
Malinowski, a product of Michigan. Another Michigan product not playing today of note, Sarah Griffith, known as Surge, a star for Seattle in her 9th year with Riot, but when she came back from an injury last year after tearing her ACL 2 years ago at Club Nationals. Suffered another knee injury, bumping it in this tournament.
Yeah, I think she was going up for a disc against Sandy Jorgensen. Quite possibly the fastest defender in the women's division, playing on Washington, D.C. Scandal.
It'd be fun to watch Cammie Groom and Sandy Jorgensen race.
My money's on Sandy.
Smart money. It was hard to tell, but it looked like in between games on Championship Saturday in London, Sandy Jorgensen and her mixed teammate Jack Hatchett of Boston Ironside went for a little sprint. As Shira Stern runs it down in the end zone. I didn't see the start of the race, but all I really saw was Jorgensen exploding past Hatchett. Seattle back within 2 as Shira Stern makes the grab for the score. The first turnover-free point of the game.
Nice job by Stern there to secure possession and hold on to the disc as she goes to the ground. And perhaps before that, an even better grab by Khalees Cardenas, who was one of the heroes of yesterday's victory for Seattle Riot, coming up with that block on double game point to give Riot the disc.
Yeah, Seattle started that universe on point on defense, and it was Octavia Payne not seeing Cardenas in her peripheral vision. A little tunnelized toward Chastain, and Cardenas poached in for that D. That led to the game-winning goal. The second of 3 championship games here at Meade Stadium, the home of the University of Rhode Island Rams in Kingston. Evan Lepler with Ian Toner. Very happy to have you with us on this 4th of July. See what kind of fireworks these two teams have in store over the next hour or so. Not sure if Shelly Cohen touched that disc or not. Either way, she's gonna have it on the sideline in front of the end zone, and a pressured mark of Titcomb.
This is a zone look from Riot, forcing a punt from Shelly Cohen right into the hands of Jacqueline Verjus.
Is that about as good of a pull as you can hope for, forcing the other team to start on their end zone sideline?
especially in these windy conditions, yes.
You'd almost rather have him start there than start in the middle of the field, but 5 yards from the back line.
Minimizes the swing options, narrows the area of responsibility for those closest to the disc.
Although in these conditions, you start 5 yards from the back line, then you're in Callahan country. Dominique Fontenette threw into traffic. Johnson was collided into, and this will be interesting here.
There's no doubt that Shelly Cohen.
We do have a foul call.
I'm not sure that's a foul.
There's no doubt that she initiated contact, but I do think they were both converging on that space at the same moment.
Be right back. Kelly is calling a foul, saying she caught it if she was.
She was kind of in between two players, right?
Yes.
It's a very odd position for her to be in. I didn't see her necessarily get knocked into in a way that took away from her.
How do I say that?
It's a great question how you say that, but you should say it.
Okay. Are you guys gonna either? Okay. So it's a foul. Coming to an observer. No foul. There's a lot of bodies in that space.
So it was only me and her.
And her.
She was behind. She's the one who got.
No foul. It's a turnover. Before you move, you can't. Nobody move. Back to where everybody was. It's a defensive check. 20 seconds.
Kelly Johnson not happy about the outcome of that call, but I do believe it was the correct one.
Yeah, Cohen, the defender, had the position. She said if she didn't bump into me, I would have caught it, but she was there playing defense first. Hoffman to Bitterman, back to Tajima. Bitterman, Tennell. The wind has really picked up. Boston going into that breeze right now.
I think
Tennell rips the flick forward.
I think the Boston thrower is doing everything they can to keep it off of that far sideline. That's the trap sideline where it's most difficult to get the disc off of. And we see this dump swing pass just too far for Tennell.
Fontenette didn't have enough float on the backhand to Johnson.
Just back to Brute Squad on the Riot turn. Shelly Cohen picks up.
That was a break mark throw, but Brute Squad gives it right back.
Well, Brute Squad has already turned it over many more times today than they did in their semifinal game in its entirety. Yes, it is windier today. Verju with a heck of a bid, but could not get there.
This goes back to Brute Squad.
Who else is going to come that close to making that grab? With a fast defender like Becky Malinowski closing in behind her as well.
Maybe Bo Kittredge.
Maybe. Who knows? Maybe they could be World Games teammates next summer.
That's possible. 2017 World Games coming up in Poland next year. 6 countries qualifying. The home country, Poland, along with the United States, Canada, Australia, Japan, and Colombia. Poland getting the automatic bid as the host. 5 other countries qualifying as a result of their WUGC performance in London a little over a week ago.
Comes up 4.
Weatherford marking Tajima to Hallweaver. Yikes. What is going on with these Brute Squad throws?
Well, the wind has certainly picked up since the start of our first broadcast. That mixed final between
Johnson's throw canceled by the mark of Cohen. Tough catch there on a laser beam flick by Tennell. Hoffman controlled it. Now Bitterman downfield. Squeezed it into Malinowski. Cohen airs it out. Had no chance. Alex Odie, the Riot rookie with a D.
Coming in on Jacqueline. Oh, 3, thank you. So coming in on 4, yes.
9 turnovers into the point. Timeout called as the windy conditions wreaking havoc on both these teams, and this becomes a mental grind.
Return to calm. Defense is great. Keep it up. Use this timeout to regain your legs. On offense, we're doing a good job, but we're just getting a little frantic. You just got to trust the system, right? If you feel frantic, you have the disc, we've got timeouts. Let's use them. But what we don't want to do is, jam it because we think we can score quickly. Let's rely on the system, okay? If the disc is down there, we can take an aggressive shot. But once we work it to half field, let's be really conservative like we've been all
Timeouts for your D, okay? That's how you get your D back. Let's go.
You got your back line.
talk in the back and help them out.
Trust him. You got it. Yell him in if you got it. Defense on 3. 1, 2, 3. Defense. Let's go, baby.
Seattle Riot will have the disc. It'll be their 9th chance to break here in the first half. So far, they are 0 for 8.
Well, you can only go up from here with that conversion percentage.
Malinowski on the mark for Brood Squad.
Fun matchup between Verjou and Malinowski. Lefty backhand, incomplete.
Riot turnover. Leland Tennell to pick up for Brood.
It's an interesting point that Ariel Jackson made about the team's frantic offense at times. Seeing a little bit more patience here so far after the turn. Tennell to Hallweaver. That's a hold for Boston after 10 turnovers. Last 2 Brute Squad holds have featured 18 total turns on the 2 points combined.
Got to be somewhat demoralizing for Seattle Riot. They've earned so many turns on this point, gotten the disc so many times. They call a timeout to kind of focus their efforts and really focus on that break opportunity. And unfortunately, a quick turnover gives Brute Squad the disc at midfield, some of the best field position they'd seen that entire point. And they capitalize the rest of the way.
Leila Tennell grew up in the Atlanta area, product of Paideia High School. Now up in Massachusetts, where she has spent a lot of time coaching Youth Ultimate around the Amherst community.
Another Tennell comes to mind who's had quite a bit of success on the national stage, Evan.
Leila's older brother, Dylan, former Georgia Ultimate Player, won a title with Chain Lightning in 2009. He's played mixed with Atlanta Bucket the last couple of years. There's Dory Zipperstein, also the younger sister of one of the greats. 2005 Callahan Award winner, Dory's older brother Josh with Brown. They beat Colorado in a dramatic championship game that year. And Riot gets it back. Someone else with some influential siblings in the sport of Ultimate, Rory Titcomb. One of the 5 Titcomb kids. Clutch D there by Rory.
And that throw, perhaps too tight of a window. You saw Zipperstein needing to slow up as she approached the cone. Titcomb able to accelerate through and get a hand on the disc.
Julia Snyder, I used to think she was related to Alex, but I'm told that's not actually the case, despite the fact they're both excellent throwers. Alex Snyder with Fury, Julia now in her second year with Riot. Here's Soper looking for her college teammate. Swafford on the second effort didn't have a play as Groom swooped in. And Cammie Groom with her second throwaway of the half.
After this game, the turnovers, we're back with Riot with this.
Titcomb tried to swing the arm around, almost had it. Zipperstein launches, and it's too far for O'Connell.
Just going back to Riot on the Brute Squad turn. Rory Titcomb to pick up.
Ooh. Through the hands of Swafford. There was a foul back on the throw, and it looks like it'll stay with Riot.
We have a foul call on the throw. This will stay with Riot.
Say that's a foul.
No question.
O'Connell on the mark. Rory Titcomb with the disc.
Caitlin O'Connell making contact with
Coming in at one.
Rory Titcomb's shoulder and forearm as she was in the process of releasing.
Titcomb with a nice little cut, breaking free of her defender. Now Soper, Swafford.
Great dump defense by O'Connell, making Titcomb work for this reset.
Titcomb launches. Snyder can't come down with it. The defense from a couple Brute Squad trailing defenders.
This is the second throw in this point where we've seen Cassie Wong peel off of her assignment and come in to help with a deep throw. She's got a nose for the disc.
Can't remember seeing this many first throw turnovers from teams as good as Riot and Brute Squad. There's the goal. McKeon from Titcomb. It's the third offensive hold of the half that has come after at least 8 turnovers.
And a nice break throw on the goal line there from Titcomb. Finishing the point to McKeon, who survived a scary collision yesterday with Claire Chastain in the semifinal against Molly Brown. McKeon had started to slide to the ground to catch a low disc, and just before the slide, Chastain had kind of taken off to try and bid at the disc, and her hips kind of impacted McKeon's head and neck as she was going to the ground. So good to see that McKeon's okay and out there able to contribute today.
And she acknowledged that it definitely hurt when Chastain collided with her, but determined to play today and with a smile on her face. Here's the collision from yesterday, if you missed it.
Definitely no ill will meant on Chastain's part. I think she left the ground before McKeon had even started to slide.
Boston's offense back out there. This is Sarah Cook, and she was fouled. Up there with Tunnell, Malinowski, Tajima, Hoffman. Also Sydney Dobkin downfield. And Laura Bitterman.
Tajima shaking her defender up line.
Hoffman on the doorstep. And Boston with a smooth offensive point. Bitterman breaking free in the end zone.
One of the smoother offensive points we've seen in this first half here. It's been plagued by challenges from the wind, but Boston really just doing a great job attacking that force side to get them into the red zone and then changing the point of the attack. And ultimately that inside gut shot opens up to Bitterman. The first clean offensive point for Boston Brute Squad this half.
Yeah, it was their second point without a turnover. Their third point without a turnover.
We need to really work to have big vertical cuts to get them to change their direction of the hits, okay? Right now, we tend to be creeping out of the stack and trying to make one move. No, you go in hard and then back, or out hard and then in. You're making these vertical cuts with sharp changes of direction. Our handlers, keep being decisive with your cuts, keep being decisive. If we have the A going up line and B filling back, the C is often open in front of the stack. Okay? Our defense is playing great. We're getting turns. Keep up that pressure, okay? Keep up that pressure. Keep up that pressure. Know that you can win your individual matchup, and you are in their shorts, making them think about you the entire play. Okay? Here we go. Yeah!
One, two, PTO! Yeah, Riot.
That was the first turnover free point for Boston's O-line. They also had a turnover free point when Riot turned it once and the D-line converted. That was to make it 3-0, and that 3-0 start has stood up as we have traded ever since. Shelly Cohen getting ready to pull for Brute Squad. Say it every time we get a chance. I love these jerseys. They're strong and they're super easy to see the numbers from the broadcast booth.
The whites are pretty attractive too. Instead of Boston, they say squad across the front in the fluorescent lettering with a black outline. I'd trade for one of those.
Me too. That pull landed on the line, according to the Observer.
The ball hit the back line.
So is that the D of discraft? So it's at the D of discraft.
Just barely. First point of contact being that rim striking the line.
It's a 90-yard pull. If it was an 89-yard pull, it would have been perfect. And a first throw turnover as Soper could not connect with Zonizer.
That's a really tough throw to make into the wind. An inside-out shot across your body. I know Soper is a very capable thrower, but a really challenging shot to be your first look, getting your offense into flow.
Oh, and it's taken right back to Alyssa Weatherford with a karate chop at the disc as it soared by. .50-50, hanging in the air. Bodies collide.
I think Soper is going to call a foul. Goes off Zahniser's hand. Soper has a play at it, and then Angela Zhu comes in and makes contact with Soper.
I'm calling foul. I thought I hit the disc and then I hit you after. But I also think that I would have had a play. So you guys just decide what's going on. So
She brings a valid point. She could have had a second play chance on the disc, so there's your foul. Yeah, because she was pushed into her. Okay.
I'm not.
Okay. So the foul was called. You also called a foul as well for the second play attempt. So the initial contact, that's not going to be a foul, but because it took out her ability to make the second play at the disc, that's the foul. So we're rolling. It is a foul. You are awarded the disc.
Yeah, because I thought
At the spot of the foul.
Yeah. But I'm very.
So that is your. Right.
You guys found.
There was.
You guys forgot.
Well, the wind is certainly making its presence felt in many different ways, Ian.
So I think when Soper went up, Angela Zhu, 17 in black, contacted her, and that contact forced Paige Soper off balance, knocked her into Alyssa Weatherford, and then Weatherford's second attempt at the disc was also negatively impacted, hence why Hank Carey upheld the foul call.
And unfortunately for Riot, Weatherford not able to complete a pass on the restart. Good defense there, Fontenette stepping into the passing lane. Contact on the bid.
That's Shira Klein closing the gap extremely quickly on Bailey Zahniser. Inside shot from McKibben.
It's hard to tell from that angle. Klein does not contest. The disc awarded to Zahniser. Heck of an effort, though, from Klein.
That's her role on this team, being a ferocious defender.
Tough pass completed. Fiona McKibben now.
What a creative throw by Fontenette to get herself out of that jam.
We're seeing Riot try to make really difficult throws in these conditions. And maybe you give credit to Boston as the deep shot goes up. Cassie Wong! Just shy of the end zone. Brute Squad leads at 7-3.
You know, Brute Squad has a slew of Callahan winners, gold medalists, many big names to take the headlines. But Cassie Wong, time and again, proves to be one of the most valuable players on the field for Brute Squad. That's a SportsCenter Top 10 nominee. Laying out full extension, securing the grab just shy of the goal line, and then Shira Klein finishing the job, delivering it into the end zone for the speedy Cammie Groom.
Doesn't get much better than that. in a half that has been muddied by back and forth turnovers and several stoppages. Cassie Wong with the play of the day to this point for Brute Squad. Last year at Nationals, she was just part of their army of cutters that could not be stopped. Too speedy, too quick, especially after forcing a turnover. The O-line for the opponent was not ready to run with a cutter who was as quick as Cassie Wong.
And you could make a very good argument for Cassie Wong being the MVP of that finals game for Brute Squad.
She had a tremendous game against Riot. Titcomb to Cardenas. Back across the field, Verjou. Titcomb to the end zone. Molly McKeon has that one-hand grab down.
She's been a great option in the red zone. Does a good job attacking the four-side cone there as the disc continued to cascade toward that sideline. Without a question, Seattle's best offensive possession so far this game.
And for the most part, they didn't try any ambitious breakthrows on this point. I mean, this is still a tough catch to make. But it feels like Riot has gotten into trouble when they've tried to make the really difficult play in the wind. Riot has now converted 4 of its 10 chances in the red zone. All of their goals coming from that 20-yard window. But the bugaboo for Seattle is the fact they still have not yet broken Brute Squad. A couple assists for Rory. Chatting with her backfield mate Alyssa Weatherford. Tajima, tough throw, worked out. Hoffman centers it, and now Tennell. Always been impressed by Tennell's calmness and composure with the disc. There's some tremendous handler defense from Gina Titcomb, but Tennell gets it anyway. Finds Leanne Hoffman for the goal to take it to half. Boston unbroken in the opening stanza here in the final. Plenty of turnovers, but they always got it back on offense, and it's 8-4 at the break.
As we expected with these conditions, this is going to be a battle of resilience and willpower and focus, despite the volume of turnovers. And Boston's been able to fight through more effectively than Seattle so far in this first half.
It really looked like Titcomb had Tennell bottled up there until that last moment. Tennell went a little vertically after going horizontally across the field.
That's about as much as you can ask for from a dump defender. Bitterman doing a great job of sneaking that dump throw off.
So the defending national champs winning by a 15-12 margin in Frisco in the finals last year. Trying to be the second Boston team to win a US Open gold medal. We saw Slow White take down Seattle Mixtape in the mixed division. Yesterday for a while it was looking like it would be Boston, Seattle in all 3 divisions, but Chicago upsetting Boston Ironside in the men's semifinal last night. Seattle Riot with some work to do. And Bailey Zahniser, a fourth-year member of Seattle Riot, joins us now. Bailey, what is the wind like down on the field?
The wind is pretty consistent with what it's been throughout the weekend, kind of blustery. The direction's been pretty consistent. I think both teams are pretty confident with playing in the wind, so it hasn't been that big of an issue. Just got to keep going for those pop-up balls.
Bailey, explain how long and who was responsible for designing the wonderful artwork on your face.
I was wondering if you're going to ask me that question. Well, today's my birthday. And,
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I want to do a little something for myself. I also like just to do fun face paint going into games to remind myself that I love the game and I enjoy every time I get to step out on the field. So having some fun face paint really helps me enjoy every time I'm out there.
Bailey, when you're out on the field and it's a marathon point with one turnover after another, what's going through your mind as a player?
Just grit. That both teams are working really hard out there, and that you can't take anything for granted, and I want it just as much as everyone else does. So every time we get those turn balls, you just got to keep going for it.
Well, second half comeback would make this a memorable birthday. Hope it's a good one for you, Bailey. Good luck in the second half.
Great, thanks guys.
Thanks for joining us. Bailey Zahniser, former Oregon Fugue national champ, trying to win a U.S. Open title with Seattle Riot. They've got a good mountain to climb, though. 8-4, Brute Squad leads at the break. Boston leading Seattle 8-4 at the break, and while it was a sloppy first half with nearly 40 turnovers combined, there were a fair share of spectacular plays too, none better than what we saw from Cassie Wong, who has continued to make great highlights for Boston. But it started with Shelly Cohen distributing the disc. She had the assist on 2 of Boston's first 3 scores.
She's been a very effective thrower. The Boston offense, both their offensive units and their defensive line's offense, have done a great job making space for one another, always leaving those force and break lanes open. They've had a lot of success, more success than Riot, battling through these windy conditions.
It's a somewhat quiet half for both Hoffman and Malinowski. Each were involved in a couple of scores, but both of those players capable of taking over the game for Boston.
And I think that's part of the challenge of dealing with Boston. Okay, let's say we keep Hoffman off the score sheet, then you're just going to end up with a Cassie Wong taking you to the house.
And perhaps the play of the tournament in the women's division, with all due respect to some of the skies from Sandy Jorgensen, some of the bids from Octavia Payne, Jacqueline Verjou yesterday. Cassie Wong's bid there was phenomenal. Brute Squad led 3-0, and were basically on serve the rest of the way. One more break from Brute to go up 7-3 when Klain hit Groom, and it's 8-4 at the half. Mike Zalisk back on the sidelines for Brute Squad. He was more of a consultant last year, the former Callahan Award winner in the men's division, leading Boston Brute Squad, leading by 4 at the half. Brute Squad leading Riot 8-4 at the half. We have Boston Brute Squad assistant coach and former national championship player Emily Bacher down on the field. And eBay, it was a sloppy first half, but you guys came out on the better side of it. What are you seeing from the sidelines?
I mean, the wind is really picking up from the start of the first half to the end of it. It's a totally different wind game. So you're definitely probably seeing that from the stands. Maybe not feeling the wind as much, but we're feeling it down here.
How would you assess your team's mindset in having to battle through this many challenges, this many long points so early in a game?
Well, our mantra is always love the grind. So the longer the point gets, the harder it gets, the harder the wind is, the more we love it. So we try and embrace it and not think about the score, not think about how many turnovers we've had, but just keep on fighting.
Emily, there are a lot of players on Brute Squad worthy of hype, but that grab from Cassie Wong might be the best thing we've seen this weekend. What's been it like watching her develop and play on Brute Squad?
I mean, at this point, that sort of grab is just not surprising for us. She's just a phenomenal athlete and will do anything to get the disc. So she's so fun to watch.
Cool, Emily. Good seeing you again. Good luck in the second half.
Thanks, guys.
Emily Bacher of Boston Brute Squad, her team in front 8-4 at the break. Emily and her husband Miles Montgomery Butler expecting their first child this December. Second half in the women's final coming up next. The first half scoring summary with Brute Squad leading Riot 8-4. A couple assists apiece for Titcomb, Tennell, and Cohen. Of course, it was the grab from Cassie Wong that was the play of the day. That wasn't a goal, though, because Wong had the reset to Klain, who hit Groom for the score.
Boston doing a good job distributing the wealth, if you will, as you see on their scorecard. A number of different ladies getting involved in the scoring in the first half.
Seattle Riot turn it over 21 times in the 12 points during the first half. That disc was not kept alive despite the sliding effort by Stern. Angela Zhu. Zhu and Riot's Jacqueline Verjou were dazzling at college nationals for Dartmouth Princess Layout after an injury-plagued regular season. The performance that they put together, knocking off University of British Columbia, the first game Friday morning.
Yeah, Dartmouth came into that tournament as an 18 seed with two of the most experienced players in the women's division.
They're edged in the quarterfinals by Virginia, and there's Angela Zhu in the end zone, stretching the lead to 5 for Brute Squad, largest yet.
Boston 9, Seattle 4.
And once again, Boston just staying disciplined after the turnover.
Give the assist to Cammie Groom. Sadler breaking the mark to Groom. I asked someone on the USA women's team in London, I forget who it was, to be honest, but I said, who's the fastest player on the team? And the answer was probably Cammie or Saddles. So that arguably the two fastest players on the USA women's national team are cutters for this Boston Brute Squad offense and defense.
And I'm sure if you ask the same question of the mixed team, their answer, the fastest player might be Sandy Jorgensen from that roster, but Becky Malinowski has to be in that conversation as well. Another cutter on the Brute Squad roster.
Yeah, the collection of speed and throwing fundamentals that this Brute Squad team has compiled, you know, and it's still sinking in exactly what they're capable of. That's a great toss. Soper to Cardenas on the goal line. And finally, Soper comes through, shaking her handler defender for the score. A much needed turnover-free offensive point for Riot. That point belonged to Diddy.
Paige Soper getting power position on Shelly Cohen. Delivering this deep shot to Cardenas right on the goal line. Cardenas maintaining her composure, and Cohen has no choice but to sell out and stop a little up the line flip, and as she does that, Soper's just able to plant and come right back toward the disc and catch the easy goal.
So 9-5 is the score. Khalees Cardenas wearing the USA cap. Product of Seattle University. She's originally from Idaho. Now 29 years old in her 7th season with Riot. You know, overall, Ian, this Riot team has really a lot of youth to it. Dominique Fontenette is the outlier. She's 41. The next oldest person on the team is Serge Griffith, who's 30. Everyone else in their 20s, except for Jacqueline Verjus, who's not even 20 years old yet.
Lots of great talent originating from or moving to that Pacific Northwest Ultimate community. And Riot's done a great job of consolidating it and grabbing as much of the top female talent as possible.
Malinowski with a big pivot. Bitterman breaks free. And that was easy. Claudia Tajima. The Tufts University product with the score to make it 10-5.
Bitterman goes to the ground to save possession. Upfield to Malinowski, and then you're going to see Bitterman just shake Cardenas here. Cardenas really wasn't expecting Bitterman to attack that handler space right away. And then as soon as Bitterman gets it, just a quick fake and then a break throw right on the goal line to Claudia Tajima.
And Tajima so steady, and Laura Bitterman's performance has been very impressive. Super solid on their offensive line. 6th-year member of Brute Squad out of the University of Wisconsin. Very, very steady. There's only been 1 turnover in the first 3 points of the second half, after we had 39 turns in the first half. And, you know, that number is a bit of an outlier and a byproduct of the conditions. It's amazing how turnovers can become contagious in conditions like this. But so far, so good from both offenses in the second half. Contact downfield, a pick will be called. Now it's interesting, Ian, certainly through the years, at least the last half decade in the club game, there have been a lot of tournaments in the Pacific Northwest. Not as many in the Northeast. Boston Brute Squad getting a chance to play close to home here at the US Open 2016. There's another smooth offensive point. The Fever duo combining for the score, Soper and Swafford. They were so much fun to watch a couple years ago. And they knocked off Oregon Fugue in the college final. Cassie Swafford won the Callahan Award that year, and she might have been the 2nd best player on her team. It was really close with both Soper and Swafford. They were a good duo.
Dory Zipperstein so close on 2 throws to Swafford on that point. I think she could have gotten a block if she had pulled the trigger on either one and just gotten horizontal. Sometimes as a player, you just need to flip that switch, get one layout or bid under your belt to really commit to the process later in the game.
The Ohio State women became the first team from the Midwest to win a women's championship in college in a very long time. Since the Georgia women won the last East Coast team to win in the women's division, it's been the Pacific Northwest and the Bay Area. Marissa Rafter, the Callahan Award winner this year. We mentioned Alika Johnston, a longtime presence on Scandal. Johnston now in the Peace Corps in Senegal.
Scandal definitely missing her steadying and dynamic offensive presence.
Yeah, you know, I ran into Alex Guesquier before this women's semifinal, or this women's final, I should say. And I mean, he basically talked about how brilliant Brute Squad was yesterday. He said, you know, Scandal, we're not at that level yet, but it's a good learning experience for sure. It's hard to beat a team that only turns it over once on offense the entire game. Ian, what's the idea of the angled stack here compared to the straighter stack?
I think the angled stack forces the defenders to play a bit more honest, whereas the straight on stack allows some of the defenders to poach off more into that force side lane. It opens some more inside throwing lanes as well.
Yeah. What's the count coming in? Yeah. One. Coming in one. Coming in one.
Tennell reluctantly accepting the stall count, coming in at 1. Too far out in front of Malinowski. Tajima's turnover gives it back to Riot. That's Boston's first giveaway of the second half.
Charlie Mercer there, able to knock that disc away. Mercer just finishing her coaching responsibilities. Working with Seattle Mixtape. And this swing just too far out of the reach of Charlie Eide.
Hoffman. Marked actively by Johnson. Oh, and I'm not sure that was intended for Hoffman. Malinowski was coming from the backside of the stack, and Hoffman couldn't handle the heat on that laser. Another opportunity for Seattle to register its first break of the game. It won't be easy. They're going into this hefty wind. The poach comes up with a turnover. Molly Hallweaver timed it well.
Very reminiscent of that block we saw Henry Fan get.
And Hallweaver catches the score on a dime from Tennell. Hallweaver in her second year on Brute Squad, but she missed the championship last year in med school, played in 2014, took a year off. She's a nice player to have back.
Groover saw Boyden beating Tennell up the line, but did not see Hallweaver peeling off the stack. And then she takes off deep after the turnover. Well-earned bookends for Hallweaver.
This Boston team founded in 2002. As their team bio says, Brute Squad is 6 years younger than its youngest player, 21 years younger than its oldest player.
10, thank you.
Leela Tennell,
Got a hand,
now 27 years old. She's in the middle of the pack.
20.
20.
Tennell won the Kathy Pafal Spirit Award at Club Nationals in 2014. 2015, she got the team glory, catching the winning score in the finals against Riot.
So coming in one or coming in two? Coming in one!
Somehow, Weatherford squeezed that through to Soper, who uncorked one long and off the hands of Zahniser in the end zone.
Fantastic bid by Zahniser. I think she might have even had a full hand on this disc. Oh, and the severity of the angle just making it too difficult for her to fully close her hand on the disc as she head back towards the ground.
Boston now going into this wind. And Groom, a mistake on the reset to Tennell. Beg your pardon, Cohen was the reset there. So Weatherford will look to create an isolation in the front of the end zone. Well defended by Cohen.
Great mark by Shira Klein too, taking away the break looks.
Weatherford after a bobble controls, and that's through the hands of Zahniser again.
Of course, Cassie Wong makes that play.
Well, as Emily Pacher said, you're just not surprised when she makes those types of plays. (11-6) Boston leads second half of the women's title match. And we go back and forth. Much of this game has been unforced turnovers. This game has been, this point I should say, a bunch of nice Ds as Riot and Brute Squad go back and forth.
Perhaps Riot feeling the pressure of time running out for them to mount any comeback. They trail 11-6 and we're 6 minutes away from the soft cap.
And there's another turn. Wasn't intended for Ludford, but she made the nice leaping catch anyway. Just shy of midfield, threw into a poach. See both teams, Ian, really struggling to go right to left down the field. And Riot not exactly making it look easy going downwind either.
Ludford takes it right back to the Brute Squad.
That's a sensational catch from Sophia Herskew. And you can hear Bailey Zahniser on the field leading her team, yelling for everyone to settle down. The relentless nature of this Boston defense has made these throws really difficult. Again, Soper's capable of that break, but it's not an easy gimme.
And interesting to see Zahniser point to her chest to try and take responsibility for that turnover. I don't know if she felt she could have started her cut differently as this deep shot connects to Groom.
It's a half-field huck to Groom, and then a floating backhand for Wong. Herskew now to the red zone. Groom has a wide open teammate. Upwind score for Shelly Cohen. It's a long point with the Boston defense standing Boston strong.
And a well-deserved score for Shelly Cohen there, because not only has she played great defense on this point, she also launched that strong deep shot. That's a really challenging throw into this wind. Still finds a way to lead Cami Groom up past half field. And then we'll see Herskew survey her options, reconnect with Groom, and Groom breaking the mark in the red zone.
It's a low throw, but Cohen able to get low and make the play. She started at one corner of the field, ended at the other. She's had a nice game as Boston extends its lead.
Riot now 0 for 15 on break opportunities this game.
It's like a baseball team being 0 for 15 with runners in scoring position. You know, it's just against the odds at this point.
Hard to leave guys on base and still find a way to win. Little flood play here from the Riot offense, but that first throw is just going to sail over Titcomb's head.
Dobkin knocked it down. Allie Heath swings it to Angela Zhu. Zhu airs it out. Vicky Negus stumbling as the disc lands incomplete.
Incredible throw by Zhu. Felt the stall count rising, but still found a way to bend that disc around the stack and actually led Negus into the end zone. She did get a hand on it.
Riot has had trouble stringing 5 or 10 completions together, especially in this direction against the Boston D. Big bid, but complete. Here's Verju. Good tight low throw from Titcomb. It's Rory Titcomb hitting Molly McKeon.
Great pressure there from Zhu. I understand the throw did get through to Rory Titcomb, but she was mirroring her closely.
Juliana Werfele, a rookie on Brute Squad. Another key player on Dartmouth team in recent years. Here's Heath. Overshooting Zhu, and no play at the back of the end zone for the trail. Still to come today, the men's championship game, Seattle Sockeye and Chicago Machine, scheduled for a 3 o'clock start. That's about 53 minutes from now.
Looks like Molly McKeon is going to call a foul.
As the foul is called, the soft cap horn goes off. After this point, you'll add 2 to the higher team score, and that'll be the new destination.
Just 10 minutes. 20 seconds. No call.
Didn't look like much, and McKeon has since rescinded the call.
There was a lot of fun on that D for Brute Squad. Angela Zhu picks up.
And that'll be a pick.
Pick call.
Great handler defense, Rory Titcomb.
Rory Titcomb takes the kids back to Riot.
Teaching her younger Dartmouth counterpart a little lesson. Nice throw downfield from Odie to McKeon. Great catch. And she's in. Gina Titcomb and Rory Titcomb. Both very impactful as Seattle gets its first upwind score in quite a while.
Well, it's clear that Gina Titcomb and Jacqueline Verjus have not given up on this game. Verjus with the great vision, putting that throw out to space, sits on the wind just a bit. Gina Titcomb never gives up a full extension layout. Her first point of contact landing in the end zone after she grabbed the disc. That one close.
Maybe.
Who knows? Maybe her, as we take a second look here, perhaps her left knee made contact first just outside the end zone, but nonetheless a fantastic grab.
Close enough.
Good to see some signs of life from this Riot squad late in the second half.
20.
Gina Titcomb getting ready to lead the All-Star Women's Ultimate Tour for the second straight year. Begins in just a couple of weeks.
They'll be going to 9 cities over the course of 3 weeks.
15.
Personally excited about their stop in Denver, Colorado, coinciding with another major tournament of the regular season, Colorado Cup. We'll have the All-Star Tour game on Friday night, and the rest of the tournament taking place Saturday and Sunday. A great combination of events for the Ultimate community out there in Colorado.
You've got a big few Ultimate weekends coming up.
Yeah, our team Johnny Bravo starting our season next weekend in Columbus at the Elite Select Challenge. Excited to hit the field.
There are a lot of Ultimate players around the country that probably are sitting on their couch this weekend, enjoying a beverage, watching all the Ultimate, chomping at the bit to get a chance to play in the Triple Crown Tour for the first time in 2016.
Did I tell you the count went after in that last point?
No,
Game 14.
Good reminder from Hank Carey. It is a game to 14 with a soft cap going on during the last point.
Was there a call on the field? We're good? We're good. All right, when you're ready.
Nice sliding grab, Becky Malinowski. Tanel rifles it into the end zone for Bitterman. And Brute Squad is within 1 of a U.S. Open crown.
Those are the kinds of throws that Leila Tanel is known for. The poise in the red zone, the confidence, the strength into a tight lane.
And how about the trust of her teammate to not get impaled by that frisbee sizzling toward her.
Yeah, Bitterman might have a bruise on her arm or her chest after reeling that one in, but I think she'll take it if it means that her team's going to score.
Is there a male or female player that you've played or tossed with that had a reputation for throwing it super hard right back at you?
Absolutely. One of our Johnny Bravo teammates, Austin Gregerson, he had a lot of success at the University of Arizona. We like to call him Speed Gun. You know, we'll finish a track workout and just casually be throwing around, trying to catch our breath and throw while we're tired, and you're just limply throwing backhands across the field, and he's zooming fastballs right back at you before you know it.
I think the best throwers have the fastball and also have the changeup. They've got the whole arsenal of speed and touch.
And the curveball, and the sinker, right. Everything.
The scuba. That last upwind score for Boston was the 4th time today they've played clean offense without a turn en route to the goal. Boston could win it here downwind on defense. And they will get a chance to do so. Charlie Eide could not reach the floating disc. Zipperstein continues to Ludford, to Groom. And a pick downfield. For a second, I thought Groom was going to throw it from a knee there.
Wouldn't be the first time we've seen her attempt to throw like that. But Groom now pinned on this challenging sideline.
And that's it. Groom to Ludford. And the Boston Brute Squad reign continues. The defending national champs make an early statement in 2016. 14-7. Brute Squad leading wire to wire. It was 3-zip at the start, 8-4 at the half. And the lead swells to 7 at the finish line for Boston.
You know, I think informally before the game, a couple of the writers were talking about the line, the spread for this game being somewhere in the range of 2.5 or 3.5. Brute Squad emphatically demolishing that line. A nice home field win, so to speak, for Boston Brute Squad. And that's 2 championships for Boston on this final day of the 2016 US Open.
Boston Slow White in mixed and Boston Brute Squad in women's. Seattle will get a 3rd chance in the men's. Will it be sockeye or machine? We'll find out over the next couple hours. But Brute Squad has won the US Open in the women's division here in Rhode Island. The 2016 US Open Ultimate Championships are presented by Discraft Ultrastar, the official disc of USA Ultimate. Discraft Ultrastar is now available at over 1,900 US retail locations, including all Dick's Sporting Goods and Hibbett Sports stores. By Discover Newport. Choose your own adventure in Newport, Rhode Island. Get the inside scoop on where to stay and where to play at discovernewport.org. And by USA Ultimate, the national governing body for the sport of Ultimate in the United States. For more information or to find out where to play Ultimate in your area, visit usaultimate.org. It wasn't the prettiest game Boston Brute Squad's ever played, but they still were very, very solid, and they are US Open champs in 2016. 14-7 over Seattle Riot. Boston Brute Squad's Cassie Wong kind enough to join us down in the field. Cassie, congratulations. What was it like grinding through not just the defensive Riot, but also these conditions down in the field?
Hi, thank you for having me. It was really, really great to play this team today. The wind conditions are not ideal, and I think that it really pushed both teams today to challenge each other, and it was just such an honor to be on this final stage with such a good team and and my own team. I really love playing with them.
Cassie, I know this is the first tournament of the regular season, but talk about the importance of this tournament win to your team as you build on your 2016 campaign.
This game and this tournament itself was really important because we have to work through a lot of our offenses and a lot of our defenses. We haven't had the ability to be all together in one place given the world competition that was recent and recent injuries and people traveling near and far. So it was really great to be together and finally work on our offenses together and our defenses together and finally just build that team chemistry that we really need for the season going forward.
Cassie, we were talking to Emily Bacher at halftime, and she said she's no longer surprised when you make plays like the incredible layout grab you had back in the first half. Take us through that play. What was happening? Did you think you would get there?
I'm still surprised sometimes that I make the plays that I can. I mean, you just put your head down and you run and you keep your eye on the ball, and that's the best you can do. And that's sort of what was going through my head is just get there, get there, get there. And that's all I could think about in the moment.
Well, we're working on trying to get that play on SportsCenter for you. It was a spectacular top 10 nominee. Congrats on winning this title, and we look forward to seeing you in Rockford in this fall.
Thank you so much.
Cassie Wong of Boston Brute Squad as they take down Seattle Riot 14-7. What else to be the Discraft play of the game other than this bid and catch from Wong?
Emblematic of the pressure and power that Brute Squad employed all game long against Seattle Riot. Great rip from Shelly Cohen and incredible determination from Cassie Wong to stay with it and set up the break.
Wong gets the hockey assist as Boston converted with Klain finding Groom, and Brute Squad victorious 14-7. Boston similarly systematic wins by similar scores in the semis and the finals, Ian.
Yeah, and I think this puts Brute Squad not quite in a league of their own, but at the top of the women's division in today's conversation. If you're building power rankings for the women's division tomorrow, you have to put Brute Squad at #1.
Yep, no doubt about it. Boston #1 in the mixed division and clear #1 in the women's division. Lots still to transpire over the course of the Triple Crown Tour, leading into nationals this fall in Rockford, Illinois. 2 down and 1 to go. Sockeye and Machine coming up, but for now we say so long. From the campus of the University of Rhode Island Meade Stadium, for Ian Toner is Evan Leffler. So long for now. To watch this entire game on replay, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN. Boston Brute Squad with the U.S. Open title in 2016.